What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and I got another solid episode of People's Questions, episode 99. Yeah, you heard me. 99, which means next Friday, the final Friday of 2013, will be the 100th episode of the People's Questions, and I have all of you guys to thank for that. But we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Jump into you guys' questions for this episode. First question comes from CocoMan91, and you want to know who would win in a fight between Wolverine and the Hulk? Well, this is actually a pretty simple answer. First, I'll give you a picture of who would win. And now to tell you why the Hulk would simply dominate Wolverine. Bottom line is that Wolverine simply does not have any techniques, skills, strategies, or any form of battle plan that would help him combat the Hulk. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he'd be able to maybe stab the Hulk a couple times and get him even more angry. But if the Hulk gets his hands on Wolverine once, fight's over. I mean, he basically outclasses Wolverine in every way, sense, and form. He's stronger, faster, bigger, take more punishment. His healing factor is a lot more advanced than Wolverine, and as you saw in the picture, if Wolverine were to be ripped in half like that, which that's not the only time that that's actually happened, Wolverine's healing factor would have to kick into overdrive just to keep him alive. So, bottom line, Wolverine simply cannot compete with the Hulk in any level. Next two questions come from Draven G, and you want to know, could we ever see a Daredevil animated series just like Batman the Animated Series? Well, to be honest, Draven G, I honestly don't think Marvel is really interested in putting much effort into their animated department simply because they're always focusing on their live-action franchise in the Avengers. But I can't really say that Daredevil is the type of character that they would really want to invest much time and effort in. I mean, I've heard that they want to do like a little TV show on like Netflix or Hulu or wherever the heck they want to do it on. But bottom line is that Daredevil is simply not as much of an interesting character as Batman. He simply just cannot compare. What made Batman the Animated Series work so well, aside from great voice acting, is that you could tell a lot of really interesting stories around this really interesting character of Batman. And it was seeing Batman's interactions with his entire rogue gallery, which it is unquestionably decided that Batman has unquestionably the best rogue gallery of any superhero in both Marvel or DC. And Daredevil just simply doesn't have that. I can only think of maybe two villains that Daredevil would even be facing off the top of my head, and you can't make a whole series about him fighting them every single episode. You gotta mix it up, and they just can't do that with Daredevil. So, although I'm sure some people would like to see an animated series for Daredevil, I just don't think it's ever gonna happen. Next question is, do I think we will ever see a live-action Batman Beyond movie? You know, I think you and I, maybe a couple other people, are in the small group of fans that would actually like to see a Batman Beyond movie. For me, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is one of the best animated movies that DC has ever produced. I would even put it up there with Mask of the Phantasm and Under the Red Hood. And I think it would be a really interesting treat for fans who aren't really familiar with the Batman Beyond lore. I really would like to see a story that shows that, yeah, other people can be Batman. I think it might throw some people off saying, hey, how come Bruce Wayne isn't Batman anymore? Well, this is what would happen if Batman really continued doing this for a long time. Someone else would have to take it over, and I am a strong believer that Terry McGinnis does make a solid Batman. Now, don't get me wrong, Bruce Wayne will always be the Batman, but Terry McGinnis was a great Batman, and in my opinion, he was an even greater Batman than Dick Grayson was in the comic books in the little short amount of time that Dick was Batman. So, I would love to see a live-action Batman Beyond movie. I don't think the studios will try it anytime soon, but maybe if enough people get together, maybe enough petitions, or maybe if Warner Brothers is willing to take a risk, then I think we might be able to see it. The next two questions come from the man Mike1127, and you want to know, who is more sick in the head, the Joker or Bane? Well, the thing about Bane is that I don't really think Bane is really sick in the way that most people believe he is. Bane originally came to Gotham simply to challenge Batman. In order to really get Batman's attention, it required him to do pretty sick and just disturbing things in order to have Batman take him seriously as a challenge. As for the Joker is simply crazy. And he enjoys being crazy. So he just does sick things, just do sick things. Bane will do sick things just so that the challenge of facing Batman becomes that much more important to him. Because, yeah, he wants a challenge, and he believes that Batman will give him that one challenge. Joker doesn't care about a challenge. He just likes to cause complete chaos and anarchy and just kill people. So, Joker would win in terms of who is more sick in the head. Next question is, who is the greater hero, Green Lantern or Superman? Well, as much as I love the color green and the Green Lantern Corps, I don't really think the most that you could really gain from the Green Lantern Corps is simply being part of, say, like the Marine Corps, for example. The most you could ever achieve as a Green Lantern is simply have a small section of the whole Green Lantern legacy history books, if I remember correctly, and knowing the history of what people were able to do with your specific ring in your particular sector, or whichever sector you're assigned to. As for Superman, Superman is the original comic book hero. He is really the definition of what a superhero should inspire to be. And although some people would say he's a bit of a Boy Scout, he does, in recent years, have a bit of a dark side, so he's become much more relatable. But to its core, Superman is the definition of pure superhero, and that is why he is the greatest superhero of all time, in my opinion. I mean, I know I love Batman, but, you know, logically, Superman is a little better. And now the last two questions come from Criticism Guy 2009, and you want to know who is more mentally unstable, Green Goblin or Ripperoo from the Crash series? Well, Green Goblin is unquestionably a crazy person, but I think the fact that he kind of has that dual personality that Gollum has, where it kind of separates the Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin side, it does add a bit of stability. So Green Goblin isn't entirely crazy all the time. He does have times where he's highly intelligent, he is aware of what he's doing, and sometimes he'll back off and take time to plan things out, or maybe he just won't do anything. Ripperoo, on the other hand, well, look at this picture right next to Green Goblin. I mean, does this guy look like he has any sense of mental stability? The guy's in a straitjacket all the time. I think that classifies him as being completely unstable. So Ripperoo completely outclasses Green Goblin in terms of who is more unstable. And your last question is, what are my thoughts on the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, for those of you who do not know, yes, I am actually a big fan of the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, and I actually still have my deck that I spent like 7 or 8 years kind of building around, and I actually do a whole video on this. And I even would go so far as to say I have Yu-Gi-Oh merchandise, like pillows, and this dual disc I got several years back that I don't know why I haven't gotten rid of it. I don't know. Maybe I just want to let part of that go. But getting back to the state of Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm not a big fan of what Yu-Gi-Oh is now, simply because the entire mentality of the game itself has completely changed. When I was playing it, there was much more heart into the game, and in order to win a duel, you really had to work hard if you were a good enough duelist. With today's cards, they are just so overpowered that matches only last 2 to 3 minutes long, and it's always based around only like 4 different strategies. As for my deck, there were like tons of strategies that I could actually use and coherent with each other in order to dominate my opponent. Nowadays, you build one deck, which is usually very small, that has maybe 2 or 3 strategies, and the whole purpose is who gets their strategies out first, and I just hate that. It's about dominating your opponent, not actually trying to challenge yourself to beat your opponent. It's, you know, it's just the lack of work that you have to do in order to be a great duelist. And that is why if I ever find another duelist out there that wants to take me on, I'm going to do old school rules instead of these new crappy rules that we have today. And with that is all the questions that you guys sent in to me with this episode. I'd like to thank you guys for sending me in and making episode 99 very, very fun. Now to talk about episode 100 for next Friday. And I have to be honest, I don't have a clue what I'm going to do. I've spent 2 months trying to come up with an idea. I've asked my brother for ideas. Neither of us can come up with anything, so I'm going to turn to the one group of people that I believe can help me, and that is you guys out there. And I really would like to know, what would you like to see me do for episode 100? If you have a truly great, unique, fun idea that I could do for episode 100, please tell me in the comments down below. And the best idea that I see down there in the comments, not only will I give you a shout out, I will make an entire episode of the people's questions surrounded around it. So, if you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to check me in my future episodes of the people's questions, movie and video game reviews, and you can also press one of the links in the description down below to follow me on Twitter or friend me on Facebook, and I will be sure to friend you and follow you back. Like always, thank you guys for watching, you're awesome, and I will see you next time.